Hello everyone, this is Fawad. Welcome to Secure on Cloud and back on Azure. Yes. For the previous video, we have deployed single standalone Fortinet firewall and route over traffic, cloud subnet, Fortinet firewall, and internet access. So in this video, we are going to configure another Fortinet firewall and we will configure it remote. For that, we will configure our internal load balancer and as well to achieve the high. For that, we have to use the interface which the management interface in remember only two interfaces for you are the two. Now we need to add third interface. Along with that, we need to install the firewall, which is firewall 02. Azure portal. This portal I am already search for Fortinet firewall. Next generation firewall I'm going to install now. As I mentioned earlier in my previous video, there is predefined template which is but I want to have a more control on it so that I'm call it manually auto scaling for achieve my subscription, then my resource group, and username, but this I mentioned earlier, you have to select F4S is the instance type guide which you follow. The maximum NICs are for standard F4S. Keep in mind. F4S, the instance type, which now let me up. All right, so license file has been uploaded and license name is FW. This is the prefix which we have defined. The network trying to similarities. So this deployment will take couple of minutes. By the time what we will do is we will add and let me review right here under FS. So so let me shut down this firewall so that we can add the management system. Shut down powered down. Now we can see start button not visible. Now we can forward it on. But that we have INIC. So once this management This is the subnet IP. Subnet subnet with 10.0. Here we receive an error, so let me troubleshoot it from the running machine. Although it is powered off, but still it is showing it is running. Once you shut down from the GUI, it will grab some resource. So it is not fully powered off, so you need to stop it. It will allocate the operation. Once everything is allocated, then you can connect it from. Although it was not running, but somehow it grabbing some resources. This will stop virtual. So it was shut down, but it was not powered off or active. Here you can see now the network interface is attached. Internal in not the IP 30.4 thing. Dot 4, however, it is not mentioned here, but I was at 30.30. So let me go ahead and power on this now. Okay. It it public IP address. Firewall. Let's verify the status on the serial console. Firewalls. Well, now let it validate the licenses. Once it is validated, we log in again. See if by the same line. Well, let me fix. I'll for the time being I'm all right. The issue has been resolved now. By mistake, I have assigned the same license. So let's look at our management interface. This is our port 3, which we're going for the management. The IP TCP. So 10.030.4 is client interface. So management and also enable ping. All right, so it's done. Let's move on. Second firewall. So here you can see the management interface is also not available. So let's power it down. This again, shut it down from for grace shutdown. So once it is complete down, click on virtual machine, then overview, then stop it to reallocate. Otherwise, you would not be able to add your network interface. All right, work. Currently, you are available. Work. Source group is future on cloud. Name is MGMT FW02. Exit code wanted to. Similar CF and subnet is all right. So interface is created. So let's power on this virtual machine. Let's check the status. Refresh it. Look, this is just enable it to remove this retrieve server. I'm server. Okay, 30.5 is a interface to the name. So this is done now. So now our very first step is to enable auto scaling to achieve high availability. I'll show you this first. Key here, auto scaling is not good here on both firewalls. So once we configured, one will be firewall 01 will be as a primary and firewall 02 will be secondary firewall. So in order to configure it, you need to go to console, run the following command: config scale, set status equal, set role 3, set sync in port 3. Port 3 is the management interface which I'm going to set shared key password at. Don't use it in production environment. It is a test environment, so that I'm using some X password. So this is done on the primary firewall. Close it, refresh it. You'll see auto scaling is configured and it is marked as a primary as well. Auto scale primary. On the secondary, nothing is configured here. So let me go for firewall, config system, auto scale, set status, equal, set role secondary, set sync interface port 3, set primary IP 30.4. 30.4 is the interface IP of our management interface of the primary firewall. 10.0.30.4. This is our pointing out this that. So once it is configured, it will mark itself as a secondary. You can see it is itself as a secondary firewall. It's time to information. Auto scaling is configured now. Now we have to configure our load balancer. As per our diagram, now I am going to configure the load balancer so that we can configure our front end IP and the back end pool. And then we will point out our traffic towards its load balancer so that it will the traffic between firewalls. So let's just jump on Azure balancer, home, on load balancers, it resource group will be on cloud and name ILB internal load balancer, internal. Okay, so front end IP, ILB, front end. So our virtual network is FOC network, subnet, internal subnet, because I am the internal subnet. This is our internal subnet, so that is the reason I've selected internal subnet. Zone so far not required environment. So and pool, the backend pool, we have to define two IP addresses 20.4 and .5. This is IL backend pool. You can specify NIC or IP address 20.4 for firewall, .5 firewall 2. 4 and 5. Save. Let's specify load balancing rule ILB rule and select our front end IP and pool and I available. Whoever is available, just forward that traffic towards that firewall. This is our IL health probe, and we are going to use the default port, which is 8008 TCP. Save. Outbound rule tag. Once the ILB is configured, then we have to play with our routing table because previously we have route our traffic towards 20.4. Now we incorporate ILB production network and the firewall, so all traffic should be forward towards this IP, whatever the IP is, and then modify our user defined route. Okay, so it is configured now. So let's go to load balancer, get the IP. IP is on the side. So 20.6 is the IP. Figure on our route table. Go to route table. Table here we have specify our traffic towards 20.4, which we have to replace dot 6 because now we are forwarding our traffic to internal load balancer. Once it is done, verify your backend pool, firewall 0.4 and 20.5, firewall interfaces 2.4.5. Health probe, now we need to configure probe on our interface. So just to show you, just look at the inside, you some health error here. See the red mark, cross sign, and health status is on. So let's configure probe on the firewall for our internal endpool. These are our internal interfaces of the firewall. Jump on firewall, config system, mob response, set port, mob, and set port it HTTP mob value. So once it is done, I just want to show you something. You can see on internal interface, health probe option is not visible. Once we go to interface, it, um, interface port 2, because port 2 is our internal port. So your first. So here ping HTTP S and SSH is allowed. So I'm going to add probe response. Pro command, it is added, and it is done. Just refresh the page. So here you can see the probe responses. Similarly, it is added on our secondary firewall because both are configured. And you can see it is showing login read only because it's secondary firewall. So that is the reason it read only. So here you can see probe response is also added second firewall as well. So here we were looking at the inside. It will take couple of minutes to change its status from unknown to healthy. So we will wait for them, but along with that, we have to specify our static routes as well in order to stop response. So here you need static route, data route, IP address, which is suggested by the Microsoft, and traffic should towards internal interfaces. Really. So this is you have to specify on internal interface. So once it is done, we would be able to see the healthy status on both firewalls. So far, verify some. Right now, the traffic is passing through the second firewall, 20.5. Well, 20.5 is our secondary firewall. It mean first. And we will wait for a couple of minutes. For sure, it will be green. This is the have to apply like by health probe static route, configure the health probe response. So once it is done, it of minutes. So meanwhile, what we will do is we deploy our internal load balancer as well, so that the traffic will, so that both firewall will forward its traffic towards external load balancer. Currently, if you check what is my IP on this prod VM, whoever is active at the moment, because on both firewall external interfaces have a public IP address, so the traffic flow will be from prod VM to internal load balancer, and let's say this is active, this will be public IP on this prod VM. That's very refresh it. 65.4 is the previous one. Let's verify what is the IP on all two. should show 79.42. So here you can see it is showing 79.42. It means it's passing through from firewall 2. So let me reboot the firewall and it should route its traffic towards firewall 1, 65.4 public IP. So firewall, go to country. How many pin drops is read only mode, so log out and option. Else I can reboot the firewall console and observe that here how many pin drops we. So now our next hop should be 20.4. Earlier it was 0.5, which is firewall 2. So this is our firewall 1. Refresh it, public IP. Go 5.4. So now it proves that our traffic is getting through the external interfaces of firewalls. Now what we want is we want to forward all firewalls traffic to external load balancer, and whatever the IP is configured on external load balancer, and the VM should get internet access through the external IP of the load balancer. This is how what achieve now. So in order to do that, again, we need to configure external load balancer first. The health status here. So firewall 1 become healthy and firewall 2 we just rebooted, so it will take a couple of minutes and it did as well. So now our next target is to configure our external load balancer. So just to make the video shorter, I don't want to make it more lengthy to feel you bored. So I'm just going to stop this video now and to configure external load balancer in our next video. So stay tuned, keep watching.